Right, I would like to tell you about Mr. Falk, who is a 61 years old gentleman who has suffered from emphysema for the last 4 years. In fact, his emphysema has getting so severe, he has to quit his job as a salesman 3 years ago. His preoperative exercise tolerance was he could barely manage 1 flight of stairs and could only walk for about 10 minutes on the flat. On April the 24th, he underwent endobronchial valve placement. I would just like to show you the chest X-ray preoperatively. As you can see here, it's fairly typical of a patient with emphysema with hyperinflated lung fields. And this is the CT scan of the same patient showing some emphysematous changes in the upper zone. His VQ scan show bilateral defects in both upper lobes. He had 7 endobronchial valves placed. He had 2 placed in the left upper lobe proper, 2 in the lingular segments, and 3 in the right upper lobe, the anterior, posterior, and apical segments. Under light general anesthesia with intravenous propofol, rigid ventilating bronchoscope was advanced into the airway. Video assistance was used for this procedure. Meanwhile, the endobronchial valve is being loaded into the carrier. A guide wire was placed through the instrument channel of the flexible bronchoscope, placed inside the rigid bronchoscope to target to the segmental bronchial orifice. And using modified Seldinger technique, the carrier was coaxially thread through the guide wire and under direct bronchoscopic vision, the carrier was placed at the target bronchial orifice. And the valve was then released. This is a view of the valve in situ. And this was taking about 10 days after the operation. As you can see here now, the right upper lobe is completely collapsed. And compare to the preoperated film, you can see a very marked change in the contour of the lung fields, with the diaphragm being much less flattened before, and the lung volume is much reduced on both sides. Now this was taking, amazingly, this was taking a day after the endobronchial valve placement, and these are the endobronchial valves, as you can see, and you can immediately appreciate the collapse of the right upper lobe. And if you zoom in here, you can see a pneumothorax and the plate-like atelectasis and the shifting of the major fissure. His pulmonary function has much improved since the placement of the endobronchial valve. This is the VQ scan taken at 3 months post-op. As you can appreciate, the match defects in the right upper zone, which was very obvious before, has now improved. His FEV1 has progressively increased from 0.78 pre-op to 1.15 on day 2, 1.36 on day 7 to 1.58 at 1 month. His FVC has increased from 1.82 pre-op to 2.17 on day 7 and 2.67 at 1 month. His DLCO went from 83% pre-op to 97% at day 7 and 102% at 1 month. 多謝你啊！我想問一問你咧，嗱，你可唔可以講俾我哋聽，你未做呢個手術之前，你可以行到幾遠或者行到幾多層樓咧？
只可以咧就行1層樓，兼夾咧就係最多行5分鐘嘅路程，平路到啫嚇。
嗱，如果再行多咧，你就好氣促。
係啦，係。
嗱，咁你而家啱啱做咗個手術1個月啦，你覺得有乜嘢分別咧？
覺得嗰條氣咧就冇喘啦，兼夾呼吸暢順好多啦。係，咁而家咧做手術之後咧，到而家咧就可以行樓梯咧，就可以行到3層樓。如果即係步行平路咧，就可以15分鐘都冇問題啦。
咁有冇一啲嘢，譬如你而家可以做到，但係未做手術之前好想做嘅做唔到嘅有冇啊？
因為咧都係有嘅，因為咧我以前咧就如果伸手過後邊即係例如沖涼咁啦，就嗰度好容易氣喘嘅，而家就冇咁嘅現象啦。兼夾攞重嘢咧，以前咧就係、如果攞到係5公斤以上嘅咧，都氣喘啦。而家咧就攞到10公斤都未喘。
嗱，你覺得嗰個進步係好快，一做完即刻見效啊，因為要慢慢等1-2個禮拜，然後至覺得有進步咧？
係做手術後嘅第3日開始一路好嚇。
咁即係而家一路都有進步緊嘅。
係有進步緊啊，係啦，係即係明顯咧，最明顯改善咗咧，就手術第3日後咧就明顯改善得好快。咁到而家咧就好似慢慢好少少咁樣嚇。
有冇痰啊？有冇咳到血啊出嚟咁有冇？
有啊，因為手術後一個禮拜內應該講就係手術後第9日都仲有血。手術後咧咳得好犀利，又每啖痰都帶有血嘅，差唔多就係咁咧，就差唔多第9日後開始咧就得翻少少血絲啦。咁一路減少咗咳啦嚇。
咁痰咧會唔會比起未做手術之前啲痰多咗少咗，抑或差唔多
少咗，係頭1個星期就多咗，之後就少咗啦。而家都即係到而家就。
但係你條氣好咗，應該咳啲痰出嚟就容易過以前啊？
係比較容易咳好多嚇。兼夾以前嗰啲痰咧就係帶呢個好似啫喱狀嘅，而家就稀好多啦，就咳得順啲咯嚇。
咁好，唔該晒你。
唔該。